guys, my name is Aleja Adeobo and it's the best sporting show in the whole of universe. It's Newsinstanta Sports. Today is Easter Sunday, so if you're looking at me, I'm just like the Pharisees or the holding guys. So that's the theme for today. Easter Sunday to all the Christians around the globe, and of course, Eid Ramadan Mubarak or Ramadan Kareem or whatever it is to the Muslim folks out there as well. Um, we have so much to talk about today. Honestly, we've had a little bit of arguments behind scenes. Kachi and I are not seeing eye to eye. Olari already called me vindictive because I don't like sports.
We
We'll be
never see
nice.
eye to eye. I don't
We'll be
see eye
nice.
to eye with Arsenal
We'll be
fans.
dissecting this and more. Let me allow the my co-hosts introduce themselves. I'll start with Oroku Kachi.
Sports fans, happy Easter to the Christian community, and to all our fans listening to us, and also to our Muslim brothers. May the Lord hear all our prayers. Always a pleasure to be here. We never take it for granted. Trust us, guys. We know you could spend your time doing something else, but you sharing it with us, it's always appreciated. Uh, I did not want to say congratulations to Leverkusen last week, but I think I have to say congratulations to Leverkusen. 13 points with, I believe, eight games left in the
7 games.
Bundesliga. 7 games left in the Bundesliga. How they always manage to come from a losing position to win in the last 3 minutes. It's a science that they have to teach
That
us.
needs to be studied.
But we'll definitely touch on what it means for Leverkusen and world football at large, with Alonso deciding to stay there. It will be interesting to hear what Olawale has to say about that. I wanted to say I don't care what Debo has to say about that, but I do care. I just have to show him that I don't care. But stay tuned for a great one. What is happening in the NBA, you can always hear it here.
All right, perfect. Lali.
Yeah, good day, sporting fans around the world. It's been some few weeks off, probably since the commencement of Ramadan. Combination of Ramadan, eats, the Nigerian eats, and some other things have.
That's because of your sins. You see too much in Nigeria.
The combination of those things have not been able to make me available on the show for like close to 3 weeks now. But again, last week was like a off week for club football. We are back and we are the stretch. Let me say the last stretch of the season. A lot of things are happening. The Champions League is there. I think that will be next week, not this coming week. The Premier League is getting to its final. What do you call it? 9 games to go. We have a 3-horse race. 9 games to go. I'm looking at the fixtures for the 3 teams. It looks very, very interesting. There will be a lot of permutations and what do you call it? Calculations going into the last few weeks of the league.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA is also eating up. Playoffs will start mid-April. The Western Conference looks very crazy as it stands now. That and more we'll discuss on the show. Welcome again for all the listeners listening wherever you are, wherever channel you are listening there around the world. So
All
enjoy
right.
your 1 hour plus with us.
All right, perfect. I'll start with the elephant in the room, and that's the MVP of the NBA right now. Kachi and I were discussing it. Olali was not here last week. That we should be given the keys. And I think we agreed that it should be AE as it stands as of today. But if you look at the MVP, Shea Alexandra, a Canadian, I don't think is deserving enough of the MVP. Luka has been monstrous. Nikola Jokic is the best basketballer in the whole of the universe right now. I don't know. I don't watch Euro basketball, but I don't think anybody's better than him right now in the whole wide world. Although he looks like a farmer, so I probably will not give it to him. And of course, JT is then at Celtics as well. Part of the 4 shots, Kyrie, he has been proving himself for the past couple of weeks as well since he came back from that injury. So as it stands right now, who should understanding of the MVP right now? It's still Nicola on top of it, closely followed by Luca, closely followed by Shea Alexandra as it stands today. And I think JT is fourth. But personally, for me, is Luca or nothing. And this is coming from not just statistics, not just IC. It's coming from a conglomeration of what Luca represents as a basketballer, the swag that he brings as against Nicola that is not interested in basketball and whatnot. But I want to hear your opinion about that. Olawale, I'm going to start with you on this one.
So, couple of things. No, what do you call this? Couple of things normally determines who gets the MVP, and one of it is availability, which is the number of games you've been able to play. I think I can't remember the players. The least number of games are on the average you play close to probably close to 70 games for you to probably be in the MVP conversation.
Yeah.
Your team has to be probably top three at most, top four in either conference you are. I think the only exception to that was I think two exceptions. One of them was Russell Westbrook, when the season, I think the season the season after this guy left, what's his name, KD, where he averaged a triple double throughout the season in points, in what do you call it, assist and rebound, which was something unprecedented. I think it was something the league has not seen since probably with Chamberlain or so. So it's something unprecedented. Even though I think the OKC finished sixth that year. I think the other one was I think Nikola Jokic second MVP when he put up a fantastic start without two of his major other Arsenal, which is Murray and one other guy. I think Michael Porter Jr. So, having said that, looking at this season, prior to Joel Embiid injury, it was no contest. It could have been Joel Embiid, but Joel Embiid have missed a lot of games that you just have to look at as it stands now. You just have to look at. I think you can't look beyond Nikola Jokic. He's averaging close to 28 points, close to 9 assists. The thing is, in every of the major category, you find him there, and he still have a chance of leading the team to the number 1 seed, which is very unprecedented, especially coming off a championship winning season, when it teams have the tendency of probably
relaxing a little bit,
suffering from the championship fatigue, at least in the regular season. We've not seen that they've done well for themselves. Shea Alexandra, I think, has done fantastically well. I just think most voters are just not looking towards giving. He's not actually a rookie per se. He's been around for a while. I think it was drafted 2019 or thereabout, if I'm right.
A year after Luka,
yeah. So he's been around and he's doing something very, very fantastic. Looking at that team, he's playing with probably mostly 1 year, 2 year guys. As in 2-year-old guys in the league, guys who have not played more than 2 years, which make and they are on top of they are joint top, which makes is what do you call this?
Shout at the MVP
performance and record very, very fantastic. Luka Doncic is having an unbelievable season in terms of if you look at the numbers. I think he's averaging 32 point something. 31.9, which is close to I think what Giannis too is doing. But I think the only difference is that people are seeing Milwaukee Bucks season so far as a disappointment, despite the fact that they are number 2 in the East. But again, you can't be 11 games behind Celtics, even though you are number 2, and you want people to consider you that. I think that is the points against Giannis. For Luka, they've stayed in the lowest bottom of the top 8 for so long. They've been around that 6th, 7th, 8th for a larger period this year that people has overshadowed whatever he has done or whatever he's doing. But now that I think there is a little bit of stability, Kyrie's injury has a little bit. He has stayed out of injury for the past, let me say, I don't know, probably 15, 20 games now. And those trades they made around January, February to bring in DJ Washington and Gafford into their team, I think gives them more size, and it's allowing more of us to see more of the chemistry between Kyrie and Luka. For me, having looked at all this, I think the voters are looking at compensating Jokic for what happened last year. Because Jokic should have made it 3 straight. I think there are there a bit of racial, what do you call it? Bias that came into it. Kennedy Perkins was the one that led that. He played on ESPN on a nationwide TV. He played a racial card that probably lots of people just what do you call it? A lot of the voters just went along. I think denied what do you call Luka, what could have been his third straight league MVP. So with the way he performed in the playoffs and them winning, there's a lot of sentiment among voters, and with his performance so far this year, in compensating him for that.
It's not going to happen, don't worry.
Yeah, Embiid injury has made it easy for that to happen. The only thing that will prevent it, I think, is going to win. The only thing that will prevent it, like I said,
if they are not top seed, and Luka gets to like fourth.
Probably if they end up third, and probably Luka gets to the 4th seed. Anything outside the two, I think, is a Nikola Jokic MVP.
Okay, what about you, Kachi? What's it for you? What's it gonna be for you?
It will be very hard for me to go against what Olawale has said. I think Luka, for me, it's not what I would only premise my take on is that this year there has been no overwhelming favorite. It wasn't a case of what we saw last year where you could clearly say, oh, this is a 2-horse race, Embiid or Jokic is a toss-up. Whoever you give, you really won't be that wrong, you know. This year hasn't been that. Yes, Luka has been his usual spectacular, albeit uninspiring self. Luka Doncic has come and he has huffed, he has puffed, he's still huffing and puffing. But I think teams are now beginning to see, and the Mavs are also beginning to see, that we have a 1B in Kyrie, that we can't necessarily say Luka is the one. We can't say Doncic, yes, is the one that is essentially carrying the Mavs. It took a couple of chess moves, moving pieces around, acquiring some pieces during the January trade deadline to finally see them moving up the rank. They are currently the 6th seed in the West. They may end up as the 4th seed. It depends on how the Pelicans and the Clippers perform at the final stretch. Shea SGA started so well, and I totally share Olawale's sentiment that it's hard for people to turn their face to what SGA is doing. It's going to be hindsight. It's almost akin to how this guy crept in on us and we were wowed until he started all his shenanigans. I'm talking of Ja Morant and you know, so people are like SGA, show us again. We won't take you serious until you show us again. So SGA is in a prove it kind of era right now. So he needs to show this the next day. It's something similar.
You know, he's my neighbor, right? His mom is my neighbor, right? So that's
right. That's why people must prove it. Something similar happened to Embiid. There was a year we thought Embiid would win it, and Embiid didn't get it, and it almost was a case of Embiid, show us you are deserving of this again, which was ultimately won it. So I think that's where SGA is. For Jason Tatum, I just think his skin tone is playing a huge factor against Jason, and the fact that he disappears in some games. See,
he disappears in most games. I was thinking statistically about him, how many clutches he has missed. Oh my God,
he disappears in some games. And see, for teams, no, for pundits, for voters, it really doesn't matter win or lose. Yes, winning counts, but
Huh.
it really doesn't matter if that person they are looking at to be the talisman of that team to be consistent.
Yeah.
Like you look at that team now, you go, well, Jalen Brown is playing as well as Jason Tatum is playing.
Yeah.
Jason is just the face of the Celtics franchise right
Right.
now. So all this is to say, I don't see a clear favorite. And when you don't see a clear favorite, you usually will go for the safe choice. The safe choice right now is Nikola Jokic. My fear is that there will now come years when Nikola should be deserving of it clearly, but then a Nikola fatigue will set in. We saw the fatigue. It's setting against MJ.
LeBron
It's
James.
setting against LeBron James. I'm afraid that if he wins it now, time will come when he's deserving of it and he will
That
get
would
it.
not be given.
LeBron James in 2016 or maybe even the 2018 or 2017 LeBron, I can't remember which year,
2016.
uh, when he didn't win it, where he was clearly the best player.
The best
But
player.
the 73-9 record was just so great, so glamorous. So it was like a glitterati that nobody
Yeah.
could look at what LeBron is doing. So a fatigue will come. So in this year, this particular year, when no one has really stood out for me, I will go with the safe choice. And the safe
And
choice is
go
Nikola
for
Jokic for
for
me.
Nicola. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can agree less. It's based off the fact that I feel if making Nicola MVP 3 times in the last 4 years gives Nicola the right to the claim of the face of NBA. And realistically, do you want someone like Nicola to be the face of the NBA? Because if you
You are
if you are
speaking
the
like it's Debo, you
if,
have started speaking like Americans.
and I'm
Forget
sorry, no,
everything is about image. It's not about the
no,
game.
yeah,
Let me please
sometimes
let me just say something. Wait.
sometimes
Wait,
Olale,
sorry, wait
image
now.
is everything. Go ahead.
Debo, wait now before you
Yeah,
go ahead. Sorry for. I remember I was listening to Colin Coward one day. You
yeah,
know, they are desperate to see a LeBron James team and Steph Curry's team to go so far in this team in the playoff that they
in
are
the playoffs.
suggesting that even if the first round if they can shorten the first round instead of 7 games, they can shorten it to a 3 games this thing.
All
That
game. Yeah.
a 3 game series that it gives older players more chance for them to progress. More like I
Okay.
guess so. You guys are just desperate for this thing, just so that you want your either favorite players or this.
No,
It has been like that. NBA has been
but
about 7
yeah,
game series.
but
I understand
but,
whatever image or these things, but
yeah,
again,
but
the truth is
realistically,
this:
yeah,
most times the best player in every sport at times might not necessarily be the most marketable this thing. I think we need to accept that,
yeah,
not like we want to force both to happen.
yeah, it's difficult to accept. You'll have to make an effort. Messi is not the face of football for a very long time because he's docile. But Messi actually toned up at a particular point in time when he knew
When they
he's the
started
best player.
having
Yeah.
having
So
Having
tattoos.
tattoos up and down.
Nicola needs to put in an
So
effort. You can't be the face of Black America because NBA is Black America, sports is Black America in the United States, and be like that. Honestly, no, you can't.
You people should leave
That's that's
Nicola alone.
that's
He's
the
the best
basic.
player in the
Anyways, moving on to let's go to the East. The East looks a little bit dicey. Um, Celtics, I know they're the top seed. Personally, for me, they're unconvincing. Personally, for me, I feel if not the top, the first 8 seeds in the West can conveniently, and I'm saying this with no form of bias
Mhm.
or excuse, they can
Yeah.
conveniently take the Celtics on a 7 game series. That's how unconvincing the Celtics are. Personally, for me, you know, Milwaukee Bucks with the way they dilly-dallied, changing the coach in the middle of the season and whatnot, they have their own problem as well. And I know Kashi and I we spoke about this Dame doing enough in the team? Is Giannis releasing the rope enough for Dame to drive? Are they giving Dame that road that he needs? Personally for me, and this is my own standpoint, is the fact that Giannis does not have to stop being Giannis for Dame to drive. Dame, if he needs something, needs to take it. And I know it might not be the best comparison, but if you see it at Maxi, what he does with the 76ers, he has a draw that is clearly over and above it, right? And Tyree he still shows up and does his own part and is acknowledged for it. Dame needs to show that I'm the guy next to I'm the Batman is the Robin, or is the Robin I'm the Batman, whatever that means, like Lucas said over the week. And going down, who's the next on the in the Eastern
In the
Conference
East,
right now?
the Cavaliers are third,
The,
the Knicks
Cav-
are fourth,
yeah,
Magic and Pacers.
that says it all about the East. If the Cavs are third, and New York Knicks maybe
And
how I feel
for
about
New
the
York, see,
Knicks.
for New York, you have to consider the fact that
Yeah,
they have been
They've
playing
been
without
without their
their top
players,
players.
yes. Generando
Now,
has not been playing for a long time now.
but
Julius Randle has not been playing, and what's
but
this guy they traded
Russell
from
has been
RJ,
playing.
Toronto?
oh,
OJ Anunoby has
OG
been.
Anunobi. Mhm,
So, so that could show you how dangerous they could still be.
They could still be
mhm,
when they get all their pieces together.
mhm.
Okay, maybe. Right what I'm saying. I'm not trying to
And
sound
don't
disrespectful or
forget,
anything.
Miami is seventh as it stands.
They're
I'm not
coming
sure the
back.
Milwaukee
My
Bucks
God,
will be happy
my
with
God,
that.
just you know what? Let us leave Miami out of the teams. I think Miami have a way of trying to. They have a way of decoying. They give you a decoy, make it seem like, because basically Miami they played in the play-ins last season. I think they were 9th seed or 10th seed last season. Correct me if I'm
They
wrong.
came as the eighth
8th
seed to
seed
get
last
to the
season
finals.
to the
Yes.
finals of the NBA. So
Mm.
that Miami, as long as Jimmy Butler is not dead, you can't say anything about that Miami. So I'll take them off the park. And like you said, Olawale, Joel is coming back. If Joel comes back and he ends up like maybe 5th, 4th seed, which is still a possibility for them, that makes it more interesting. But realistically, Kachi, how do you think the East would shape out? Like, how do you think it's going to shape out?
It's difficult to say because this is a conference where the number one seed is about 11 games ahead of the second best team, and then from 2 to 6 they are
Yeah,
all bunched up together with, I think there's just 5 games between the second seed, which is the Bucks, and the sixth seed, which is the Pacers right now. That's one thing. It's difficult to say. Two, it's also difficult to say because last year we saw the second seed, or was it the first seed, get bounced in the first round by an 8-seeded team that only made the playoff via the play-in in the Miami Heat. That's true. Third one is difficult to say because we've seen the Celtics, who went on a 25-28 game stretch where they did not lose at home, suddenly start disappearing in games when they play against the real physical team. I do get it that come playoff football, the referee swallow the whistle more. And in Drew Holiday, they have a player who can impose his physicality. But beyond Drew Holiday, I don't know where that physicality will come from again. Kristaps Porzingis, for all you say, is a lower version of Nikola Jokic. No style, no physicality, no finesse, even though you should have at least one of those. So all that is to say, things may just flow the way the table has shown us because it is difficult to say. However, I must point out that the dark horse in the East for me will have to be the New York Knicks. I think this is the year where the Knicks break their hoodoo and go at least to the second round of the playoffs in the East. And if they make it there with Randle coming back, the two-way defender in OG also coming back, let's not forget OG is a champion. He was there when Toronto was labeled LeBronto. So he knows how to suffer in the big game. So I think that experience will play a key factor. I expect Boston to be there. I expect the Bucks to be there. I expect the 76ers to be there, depending on how quickly Embiid can get his game rhythm going. But I also expect the New York Knicks to be there. I don't think the Miami Heat will be successful enough as they were last year.
What about the Pacers?
The Pacers is they are like in football terms. The Pacers are this or the Spurs. You know, they flatter to deceive, and when you really need them to show up, they don't show up. So I think the East largely will remain the same, but I won't be surprised if the Eastern Conference semifinal is Boston, Milwaukee, New York Knicks, and the 76ers. That is what I would like to see. But I gave you 4 reasons why I cannot stick out my neck for that.
Okay. All right, perfect. Oh, Ali, what about you? Quickly.
So, like Olakokachi have said, it's very ironical that a team has an 11 games lead over the second place team, and we're still having a doubt about them. That says a lot about the Celtics, and this has been about their performance, especially against the top teams in the West. They've not been able to. We've seen them losing some games, as in from some games in an horrific way against the Atlanta Hawks and so. And one of the problems people have complained about this team is they rely too much on shooting. When they have all the materials to do more, get to the ring,
yes,
and it's referee, like Kachi said, referee swallowed your whistles in the playoffs. It is very hard for you to be a primary jump shooting team and win the NBA. And outside what do you call it, the Golden State Warriors, which is why most people believe about these what do you call it, about Steph Curry. About Steph Curry being one of those guys that have the greatest influence on the
game.
Yeah. So I think the biggest, what do you call it, for me, the biggest take for me is looking at Miami at number 7 and 76ers as number 8. If Joel Embiid comes back, and we know what Miami could do when it comes to the playoff, then we might be having some kind of very interesting matchup in the first round. I think the team for me to look out for is the New York. I think people should look at Jalen Brunson is playing
Lights out.
Brunson is playing very well, but
I
don't know. Realistically, I don't know what.
Let me tell you,
Julius Randle that went missing last season, and for the better part of this season when he played.
In the league, is averaging 27.9, which is the 4th best in terms of points, behind Luka, Giannis, and Shea. He's playing, and if they could get Randle and OG back,
is this Randle that you guys are talking about that is vexing me? I swear.
No, it's a good second option for them.
Very, very good second option.
Don't say very, very good, Kachi.
It's a very good second option. I didn't call him a superstar. He's
very good.
He's a very good second option.
For me, I think they are going to be the dark horse of this. What do you call it?
Playoffs,
possibly. Yeah.
But eventually, I'm still probably going to say I'm expecting a Celtics Bucks conference final. I hope we get it. If it gets to that,
maybe.
I can't stick out my neck for any of the two.
Yeah.
But something tells me
the Bucks will get it.
The Bucks will get it. It's not Olale. If we have a Celtic Bucks final, the Bucks will get it. Forget it. That Celtic, number one, they cannot close up games. No clutch. Forget it.
The Bucks. If we get a Bucks, and I know I didn't go as far as what Olawale said because I stopped at the semi-final. Just to let you know how unsold I am. But if we get our dream matchup of 1-2 in the conference final,
and everybody is fit.
and
Everybody's
everybody on both sides are
yeah,
fit,
feet. Don't
then
like one is
then
having
the Celtics can only win if they drain all their 3-point attempts because they cannot attack the rim. Porzingis will be boxed out. They will show him why he was in Washington for such a long time in his career and why he couldn't play for the elite teams. It will become obvious. I definitely
anyways.
would like to see it, but yes, please
Let's
go
quickly
on.
go to the West Conference. We don't spend so much time on basketball. I know we're going to spend so much time on basketball, anyways. Um, the Timberwolves number one right now. OKC number two. OKC, like those two guys, the Timberwolves and OKC,
Mhm.
they are lovely. I love them. Chet has been marvelous, if not
Mhm.
because Wemby is
Of
a
Wemby.
generational talent. Like that's a generational talent. That's a talent that comes maybe once every 20, 30 years,
Mhm.
By an injury, that guy is going to be one of the greats. That's the only reason why Chet is not number one rookie right now in the
Well,
NBA.
Chet is technically not a rookie, in my opinion.
But they gave him the chance to be the rookie because he missed last season. The whole of
Yeah,
last season he did not
I
play.
get
So
it.
he's in conversation for the rookie of the year for this one. So Chet would have probably been Josh Giddey, the Australian with all his trouble, playing fantastically well for OKC. The Timberwolves, Anthony Davis, I love him. I like the swag, I like the attitude, the crazy
Edwards,
attitude.
man.
KT as well, Rudy Gobert, and all those stuff, right? Um, Denver, we know they have the best player on earth, the guy that makes basketball look so easy. So there's nothing you want to talk about Denver. Nobody wants Denver right now. Honestly, nobody wants Denver. If you are truthful to yourself, you don't want Denver. Denver would not outclass you and win you by 40 some, but they will get the job done. That's what I've noticed, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. That's what I've noticed about the Denver's. It's not going to be a blowout like I'm winning by 30 points. No, they might just win you by 5 points, 6 points, 10 points. They get the job done. The Clippers. Shame on some people here that struggle for the Clippers. They know themselves. I'm not going to call names, anyways. But shame on them. The Clippers are not doing badly as it stands. The surprise one is the New Orleans Pelicans. How they got there, I don't understand how they did.
Almost
How,
Zion is playing is
He has
playing.
shed sufficient weight to be taken serious.
how they flew there after the tournament, tournament or whatever second class Carabao Cup they played in the NBA. I don't understand. Uh, the Dallas Mavericks, we know what they can do, right? The Suns and the Kings. I said Clippers, Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Those two guys, they are not going to leave that place. It's just going to be an interchange. It's either the Golden State end up at 9 seed, Lakers end up at 10 seed, or Lakers end up at 9 seed, Golden State end up. So it's very interesting. The East is dead. I'm sorry to say, for me personally, the East is dead. Nobody in that East can come out, have a shot against these guys. I'm telling you. I'm looking at it. I said top eight. Remove just Pelicans. Remove Pelicans.
And say top
Except,
7.
and who else? Just the Pelicans. Celtic does not want any of these guys. Any of the first number 1 to 10 in the West. They don't want them. You don't want any of them. That's the truth. Over a 7-game series, So Olale, it looks more interesting in the West. Actually, as a matter of fact, and that's what I feel. I think it looks more interesting. How do you think this is going to end? Do
The
you
West
have
is giving the West is giving us, what do you call it, headache at the moment. I don't even know what
Serious one.
I don't even know
Serious
how
one.
I want it to end. That's
Thank
even
you
the
very
biggest
much.
question.
Very serious headache. Let me
I
drink my
don't know how I
Panadol
want
for
it
it.
to end. But let me just tell you my sentiment.
Yeah.
I don't want the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks to be in the same half of the draws. I want both to avoid themselves. I'm looking for something. The question I will be looking at is this: the Timberwolves and the Thunders, even though they are number 1, number 2 seed, because I think whichever way is going to be, any of those two will not go beyond number 3. I think that is certain.
Yeah.
But whichever way it ends, if the both of them ends 1-2 or they end within 1-3, do you trust them against even
matchup? The seventh and the
do you
eighth.
trust them against the what do you
The
call it?
Suns.
I think I trust the Thunder probably against the Suns.
Mm.
But Lakers, you trust the two against the Lakers team that you know they can bring their A game, and because they have the size.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And for me, I think those are going to be the biggest thing. For Nuggets, for them is as long as Jamamore is fit, any team that will beat them in a 7-game series is going to bring his A game. The Clippers looks like
A plus game. A plus game.
The Clippers looks like I don't even know whether it's a culture thing or an unserious thing. They have some. I don't know what is really impacting on them. They look very up and down. I think the West is just in chaos as we are now. I don't even know how it's going to. I just have a few. I have one kind feel about this Dallas Mavericks team. They look very, very dangerous.
Solid.
Especially with the kind of size they have now in the front court. And they have guys who can probably hide the defensive, what do you call it, fragility of Doncic and Kyrie Irving. I know when it comes to clutch, those two are bad
guys. Oh my God.
Those two are bad guys. For me, I just looking at it like...
So basically, you prefer a Nugget
I'm looking at the Nugget Mavericks Western Conference final. How is going to happen, I don't know. But don't be surprised even if the two of them loses out in the first round. It's because the matchups are... See, if you look at the games between the Nuggets and the Lakers,
but one more play. See, that's the thing.
Something happened. If you look at everybody in the Lakers, just like Debo said, that they are, despite the fact that the Nuggets, what do you call it, swept the Lakers last season. All the 4 games were very close.
Very close games.
And this guy, what do you call? What's the name of this guy? First thing first. This guy this LeBron guy that doesn't like Nicola.
Shannon.
No, not Shannon.
On first things first, Nick Wright.
Yeah. He says something which to an extent I will agree. If the Lakers will at all play the Nuggets at any point in time, I think it's better for them to play them in the first round.
Yeah.
When they still have
energy.
LeBron and what do you call it? AD. LeBron and AD.
Fresh.
A little bit fresh. And when you see have more, I think more 2 days rest between games.
Yes.
Than the latter part when you must have played one team in the first round, 7 games, another team 7 games, and you want to go and face you.
Anyways, Olale, don't let's plug it. So Olale is looking at that the Mavs.
Mavericks.
Nugget. What about you, Kachi? I know it's an headache for you as well.
Yes. So when Olale said it's an headache, it's not just for me or for him, for the NBA, for Adam Silver too. Because when you look at the table, this is not what Adam Silver wanted to see in the West. As it stands right now, considering the play-in, 2 out of the Phoenix Suns, the Lakers, and the Warriors may not even make the playoffs. And I said it last week that the NBA remains relevant as long as the Lakers, forget whether it's LeBron James or not, as long as the California market still has its team at the business end of the season. So all this is to say, right now, as it appears, if it finishes like this, I don't think anybody between the Lakers and the Warriors, maybe the Suns, will be worried about their potential matchup. Because if the 7th and 8th seed have to face the Timberwolves and the Thunders, who are largely finessed, because you see all those things Anthony Edwards is doing is in the Yoruba word, from apologies to our Yoruba guys, our non-Yoruba guys, or Yanni, or Benny. When it comes to the playoffs, those things will not fly. The teams will check you, and the referee will look the other way. You get my point. I'm not disputing his talents, but I'm saying matchup-wise right now, the Wolves don't match up well with the Lakers. The Wolves don't match up potentially well with the Warriors if Draymond Green puts his head on a tight swivel and
my
it
God.
doesn't let it shake
Why
loose.
can't they just sack the one green? I don't know.
No,
Why?
no, no.
What's this?
After this season is something. Well, it's probably something we'll have to talk about. Should the Warriors move on from Draymond at the end of this season? But maybe for another day. Right now, I don't mind a Denver Mavericks on the same side of the bracket. I really am interested in seeing how the Clipper will Clipper this season. It's interesting for me because right now the Clips get the Pelicans, and
Nice one.
the Pelicans will probably be better matched up against them because for all of Kawhi's greatness, all it
Uh-huh.
takes is for Paul George to have 2 off games and the Pelicans will steal that series. I reckon Paul George as more of a threat than I do Kawhi
That's
now.
why.
It's just that Kawhi is so silent that when he's bad, nobody wants to talk about him. He's not just good for clickbait right now.
Yeah.
So I think the West is a big headache for the organizers because the brands they want to see are faltering within the playing aspect. However, if any of those big brands make it in, they are well poised to get to at least the second round because they match up very well with the top 2.
The top two. All right. Perfect. We'll leave basketball, and we have a couple of minutes left. I guess 20 minutes. To talk about football. And Olari, I'm going to start with you. Arsenal played. They call on the spirit of Jose Mourinho at the Etihad to get that 0-0 draw, which possibly for them could have ended if they've taken their chances. They could have at least scored. It wasn't going to be a binary draw either ways. Um, tactical overload, overthinking from both sides. Mikel actually waiting for Pep, for his master, to make the substitution before he countered it. You know, that was what Mikel was basically doing, waiting. Okay, yo, do your thing. And Chelsea. I said Chelsea. City missed a couple of players. Arsenal still missed a couple of players. Martinelli had to come in the second half. It was such an interesting, and for the neutrals, not for people like me that support Arsenal, but for the neutrals, it was such an interesting game.
Neutrals, interesting game.
Yeah, it's
No,
interesting. Hold on.
we are
It's interesting.
sleeping.
It's interesting. When I said it's such
Oh
an
my God.
interesting game, is because when you look at from the tactical game part of it, maybe not the box to box,
Therefore,
it's not the box to box game where you
there
see
was
for
no.
but
I'm not
but
sure
wait,
there was any successful take on in that game until Jeremy
who
Doku
actually,
came in.
Jerry cooking. But when you see uh the tactical box that Mikel Arteta made, it is the way he set up his team. Let City make the passes, drop down. We are not so good in numbers. We are not so good with counter. We are not United of 2008, but we'll make do with it. Um, Pep put all the sticky cap to it, how to break it down and how to dissolve it. But it was a crazy matchup. And that's what I meant. It was interesting, not because it was an end to end on both teams. How do you think? Do you think is 3 points lost for City, or Arsenal should be happy that they got away with a draw at least at the Etihad? Olari.
So I think it was a very boring game. Let me start there. But for Arsenal, it's good to see Arsenal at least against City, holding their own against City. Not you guys can attest to it. In the last 3-4 seasons, City Arsenal at LTR, probably in the first 15 minutes, we know how it's going to end. Probably Arsenal would have considered 2 goals. But again, I think for the fact that they were very solid, for the fact that they were very confident in what they want to do, and I think they played very, very well. I like the choice of the 3-man midfield selection. I think it works very, very fine. Declan Rice, what do you call it? I think Odegaard had a very fantastic game by all standards today. He was there harassing, and I think we have to give kudos to the referee for not giving out those early yellow cards, because I think it is one thing City and probably Barcelona thrive on. The moment they get No, when opponent, the moment you get opponent on those early yellow cards, it becomes very difficult for players to tackle. It becomes very, probably a red card is coming along the way. So on the part of City, I don't think I was disappointed. I just think they've lost a bit of steam in that team. What we said at the beginning of the season, I think championship hangover is real. And Godigan, they don't have any replacement for Godigan, because I think Guardiola was a bit concerned about being overrun in midfield, that he decided on to play Kovacic, a player who has not been a regular starter for, when coaches select somebody who is not their regular starter in a very key game, it passes a certain message that you are here for a specific duty.
Yeah.
I remember during the days of Alex Ferguson, when in the majority of the games, he's going to play Patrice Evra. That was in Evra, I think, second season. He's going to play Evra ahead of Gabriel Heinze. But in big games against Chelsea of this world, he's going to play Gabriel Heinze against. So that looks like, okay, you are very good, you are first choice, but when it comes to this big game, I'm still not yet convinced about you. So I think City looks very vulnerable now. I think Kevin De Bruyne didn't really do so much, which could be partly due to what Arsenal did as a team. But overall, I just think Arsenal missed a point. I think they should have won this. They had a chance to win it. Gabriel Jesus was a bit too, I don't know.
It was Gabriel
on a couple of occasions. I think it took too many steps, which could have given Arsenal. I like the introduction of Martinelli and Trossard, but I think it could have been a swap of role. I think Trossard on the left, Martinelli on the left and Trossard on the right would have been a better option for me. But in all, on the balance of everything, it was probably the fair result was 0-0. But I just don't like the two teams look, especially Pep Guardiola team, they look overcoached. Players just look a little bit of like robots. It wasn't. I think this is where you have to give it to Jurgen Klopp, no matter what. There is that, like, I will live and die with this. There is I don't think you hardly see a very boring Liverpool game against a top side. They might probably end up losing a wide margin, but you can't see. But again, I just think this has set things up for an interesting last 9 weeks finale for the season. Looking at the way things stands now, or which probably I don't know whether we are going to get there as a separate topic. On paper, I just don't know what to make of it, but I think City in terms of fixtures have the advantage. Looking at it from City looking at the three teams now we are talking about, the games between among the three teams.
Yeah.
In those 4 games, in the 4 games against Liverpool and and Arsenal, City they were able to get 3 points from those 4 games.
Wow.
Arsenal got 8 points. Liverpool got 3 points, which means head to head, Arsenal 8 points, the other 3. That's 5 point gap, which shows you what we tell people when it comes to the league. Your ability to get the business done against those other teams goes a long way, which means despite the fact that Arsenal has been able to get a better head to head over their arch rivals, for them to do the 2 points, which means Liverpool as at this stage they've covered, let me say, 5, and they are leading. They have covered like 8 points from the lower teams ahead of Arsenal, and which means City, even though they are like 2 points or 1 point behind Arsenal, they've gained more points against those other teams ahead of Arsenal, which is where it's interesting.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. And of course, Liverpool won against Sheffield. Kachi,
against Brighton, you mean?
Yeah, against Brighton. Sorry, against Brighton. It looks like Liverpool might, for me personally, and this is what I feel. I don't know what he's going to say. I'm being modest, but I think Liverpool will just win it, and it's going to give us that's lovely. And Klopp is going. They are winning the league and whatnot. City, they have the best coach in the whole of the world, but I sincerely don't think they are the City of yesteryears or last year. Do you think Liverpool would be able to do it and get across the line for this one?
On the back of experience, yes, I think they can. On the strength of schedule, they probably have lesser risky games than the other ones. And also on the fact that they've taken care of business, losing only twice compared to Arsenal losing 4 games, drawing 7 times compared to Arsenal drawing 5 games. They're taking care of business where they should take care of business. And of course, there is an extra spring in the step of uh, um, uh, uh,
Klopp.
Klopp's team because they obviously want to give him a send forth. Like Pep Guardiola said, the team that is in front of the on the top of the table should always be first favorites to win because they just have to
Uh-huh.
win out. They have to win out.
Yeah,
But we
yeah,
also we know it's something as Liverpool can do. However, when team play a more solid team play the kind of low block that Brighton played in the second half, daring Liverpool to come at them. A
mm-hmm.
team with more discipline can probably still get a result, leave there with a draw or whatever.
Uh-huh,
All
uh-huh.
this is to say, yes, I think Liverpool can do it. However, I think Arsenal is better placed amongst the three of them.
Oh my God, thank God.
That
That's
the
nice.
reason I say so because I think I mentioned it last week that this year has been about Arsenal slaying their demons. It really
Mm,
has been about them slaying their demons. They took 8 points, like Olawale said, 8 points from the top two, from those their
yeah,
direct
yeah.
opponents.
Uh-huh.
They are beating teams they should beat. Yes, there has been a couple of falters.
E-cups,
They are
yeah.
beating teams they should beat. They are beating them convincingly, and then they know when to play cautious football. To game today was a game they needed to be cautious with.
Yeah.
In the past, by halftime, City would have run away with the game, right? But them understanding, and it comes back to this. Last year, the argument was, oh, Arsenal sincerely missed William Saliba. And on the back of today's performance, you can say truly they missed William Saliba. They made Saliba handled Haaland to such an extent that the great Roy Keane said, Haaland, yes, an excellent finisher, but overall build-up play, he plays like a League Two player. It has to, so I think Arsenal is better. They are,
Oh my God.
and that's why Roy Keane is my mentor. I want to say things the way he says them. Anyway, moving forward, I think I said it last week that in their next 6 games, if Arsenal comes out with 12 out of a possible 18 points, they should be better placed to win this. I don't know. The edge Liverpool has is it looks like Salah is peaking at just the right time for that team. At the back of all his injury, Malay.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Liverpool is first favourites, but I think Arsenal is better placed. There's just something they've learned from last season that I just think would make
My
them
God.
go over the
20,
hump
20,
this season.
20 years is a long time. If we could win
Mm.
it, I'll be so glad.
Yeah.
Of course, Xabi Alonso said he's staying at Bayern Leverkusen. Pretty much everybody thinks it's a good idea. I don't think it is a good idea. I think, okay, I think it's a good idea, but that is not the best option. If I were Xabi Alonso, I'll go to Bayern Munich. What's the worst that can happen? I'll win the league and get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and I'll stay there for like 3 or 4 years playing good football and winning trophies for them. And of course, build my resume to go to a bigger club, maybe a Liverpool or Manchester United or even Real Madrid. Um, but it's staying. Olale, do you think Xabi is looking more at the role at Real Madrid, and since Carlos Ancelotti signed a renewal contract, like, okay, let me just wait at Bayern Leverkusen? It's definitely going to win the league. All things being equal, it needs just 3 victories out of the remaining 7 games to win the German Bundesliga. And if it does that, definitely has to use profile. Do you think it's eyeing the Real Madrid job more than the Liverpool job or Bayern Munich? And do you think it's the right decision?
So for me, I've always been an advocate of people, even when you are it took over this team when they were actually struggling.
Yeah,
they've had an unbelievable season this year. For coaches coming up like this, I've always been an advocate of take it a bit easy. I understand at times some opportunities don't come twice, or some jobs are not always available all the time. For me, I think it's a smart move on his part. Whatever he has done now, let him see. Of course, they might not be able to replicate this performance next season. But at least to an extent, let him see how far they can. Because that is when you know what your identity is as a coach.
Yes.
When you're able to do something over and all over again, and you could see it working, then, and I think he's fancied himself taking this Leverkusen team to the Champions League and probably having another 1 year run with Bayern. I think this was what I think killed Steven Gerrard's career. You could remember that time after he won the league with Rangers.
Yeah.
And he left probably in the middle of the season to join us. Like, I don't know if you could recall, I said, I don't think he's smart enough. He could have finished that second season.
Exactly.
Stay there. You need sometimes to be, you need to see if what you did before or what, whether it was a fluke or that is who you are presently. For me, I think it's better for him because in life, timing matters a lot about certain things in life. In our everyday work, probably in the corporate world or in the sporting world, sometimes timing matters. Between Sevinho and what makes Ashley Cole what he was today was about timing. Ashley Cole came out about the right time in the club. If Sevinho had not had that injury, probably we wouldn't have seen Ashley Cole today. And it was about the time England did not have any existing left back. Ashley Cole got his first England call up probably 2 months after he made his first Arsenal debut. So we've seen some of these things that works for, like I always tell people who cares to listen, James Wilson, who probably most United fans doesn't remember or knows, is probably far talented than Marcus Rashford. But again, timing matters in football. So for me, I think it's a smart move. Okay. I don't like the fact that if he takes over this Liverpool, I won't like the way the Liverpool story will go.
No. Liverpool will have been a bad. The safer choice.
Imagine the club winning this league and leaving now.
Yeah.
Salah might likely leave at the end of the season to go to Saudi Arabia. I don't think it will be a smart.
No, Liverpool will not be a smart move.
I think the safest that could be for him is that I think Bayern could be the safest, and probably be the least respected, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah.
As a coach, a club where you get the least, what do you call it, respect for whatever you do there is Bayern Munich, unless you win the Champions League.
Yeah.
So for me, I think him taking 1 or 2 more years more, I agree with that. Okay. I think those opportunities will still be there, no matter how you look at it.
Okay.
People, it will be on the radar of most teams when the time comes for him to move.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Kachi, do you agree with Olale? Do you think he's eyeing the Real Madrid post? I'm like, okay, I'm not going right now. Let's just let me be for now. I would take my time, and when the time is right, I'll go to Real Madrid. Or he just wants to identify himself, like Olale said.
I think there are three things can be correct at the same time. First of all, we have to commend him because that was a very brave decision to come out now to just kill all speculations. And I believe he sent a message clearly that he is his own person and he has a principle with which he follows. It also sends that message to his suitors that if he gives us his word, as long as is performing, he was going to honor his word. And that is probably something that Bayern would respect. That is something Liverpool will respect. I don't know if Florentino Perez respects honor. That's why I'm not going. But Florentino Perez will respect him to the extent that
Is there any honor in Spanish football?
I don't know if there's any honor there, to be honest. There are no honor among thieves in Spain. But I think it sends that message to his team that if I've given you guys my word, this is someone that's saying, I'm going to leave money on the table to build something with you. It's probably, you will probably see something that will be a ripple effect of that decision. You would see that a lot of the Leverkusen players who are of German origin, who normally would be poached by Bayern Munich at the end of a successful season, will not move. That is what I suspect will happen. So that core that would ultimately win this tournament will still be there to try and do something spectacular with Leverkusen. All that is to say, I think he is also, what has made him successful as a player and now as a coach is the ability to see 3, 4, 5 passes ahead of the game. He's seeing what will happen to Liverpool if a Jurgen Klopp leaves. Rather than enter it now and then all the resources that made Klopp successful are no longer there and people expect him to weave his magic and then he's left. He's waiting to see how things will develop. How will Real Madrid look like? Is this going to just be a bunch of Galacticos that are all overpaid and not willing to learn? I think it brings more respect. And and I think you have it on our social media page. When the likes of Jose Mourinho says all his players don't want to be coached, but he tells them, get your badges. You never know what life is saying. But the only person that from when he was coaching that he knew would be a coach was the Xabi Alonso. It tells you the kind of man Xabi is. I respect it. I still think he's waiting for the big job. Yes, it will be safe to go. Nagelsmann did it, and we saw how it almost brought Nagelsmann. So he's learning. He's not just taking his own experiences. His father was a player. His father was a coach. He learned under Benitez, under Mourinho, under Ancelotti, under Pep Guardiola. He saw how all these 4 coaches and his father were treated in the good days and how they were treated in the bad days. And he's using it to forge his own identity. And I only respect that.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for Kachi for that. That was Habs. United continued in their
Why United? Why are we discussing United?
Can we move on? Can we wish everybody a happy week?
Chelsea too. They continued theirs as well at the Stamford Bridge, playing a 2-2 draw against Burnley, albeit Burnley having a red card. And Harry Kane continued his course when they lost against of not winning any trophy. Because he's not going to win any. Okay, they still have the Champions League. They won't win the Champions League. That's the truth. A real Arsenal is going to beat them, so they will win the Champions League. And of course, the final note before we leave, I think we can still spend 2 minutes, Olali. So I'll give you 1 minute. I'll give 1 minute to catch it. Pochettino came out and say, by way of statistics, they should be 4th on the league. And I'm wondering, this was the same thing that Harry Potter or Graham Potter, what's his name again?
No, you don't need to go far.
Hold on. I have a question. Before he was sacked, are they overanalyzing statistics at the Stamford Bridge, so that coaches does not understand eye test and what the statistics are telling them?
No, it's two-way. Okay, it's not a Stamford Bridge thing alone. It's a sign of a coach who is under pressure.
Yeah.
Or who thinks things have been unfair to him. We've seen the same thing about what do you call it?
Graham Potter.
Ten Hag saying something the same thing too. There was a point when United on the league were just, I think, 4.2 points away from City that he was saying, that it's not that bad the way people are looking at them, that they were like 2 points. And I said there is context to everything. You are 2 points about this thing, but do you see your next set of games? You are going to West Ham, Aston Villa, all those kind of. So sometimes I think coaches are a bit forced to just want to defend. They are humans. I think
Defend what
it's
is not
like him
defendable.
fighting. I think it's just like him fighting back. He has seen that result has not been good. When coaches say something like this, know that they are feeling the heat. The
Yeah,
result
yeah,
it's not it's not, what do you call it? It's not delusional to know that the result against Burnley was unacceptable by any margin.
Many
Burnley,
standards.
who is struggling relegation, they had a man down
A man down at Stamford Bridge.
and went ahead, and the game ended 2-2. There is no, so it's just somebody trying to fight back, somebody trying to defend his. I had to feel for him because I felt at the point in time that even though they are behind United, I think they are having a better season. Because I've seen them more competitive against the bigger teams more than United. United has been of more United mentality against most of these bigger teams has been playing like an underdog, trying
Yeah.
to see how to catch. But I've seen Chelsea holding their own, most especially
Mhm.
against City home and away, against
Against
Liverpool,
Liverpool.
even against Arsenal.
Against
You've
Arsenal.
seen more. So I can't understand why they've not been able to translate that against some of these. I think
Smaller
coaches
teams.
need to be very, very, instead of focusing on stats, I think they need to do more of video reviews, because somebody pointed something out yesterday. That yesterday game could have been different, and that's why at times I think stats has gotten to a place in football that everybody have become lazy. I saw a compilation of almost 6-7 different balls that Kopama could have done better in terms of squaring the ball for the
mhm,
guy. At least square the ball for him. Let him miss it and say, okay, he missed the ball.
Yeah, I missed
mm.
it.
Not that you every time you want to be at the end of all the balls, want to call the ball from the right side.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just laughing about you mentioning Kopama. Everybody thinks he's the new kid on the block because he has scored like
I don't know.
four
So
penalties.
that game could have been different from them if decision making were a little bit better,
Better.
making
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
uh squaring the ball into the box. I think a couple of times for Nicola Jackson and Colin Gallagher, and that game could have been out of sight for them. So, but going back to your point, I think that's a sign of a coach who is
Guys
feeling the
under
heat
pressure. Oh,
and who is under pressure.
all right. Perfect. Kachi, final word before we leave.
Final word, Pochettino, you will have to find a small league, just not a small league, a small team, just like Ancelotti did to try and prove yourself. When teams don't have expectation, certain coaches thrive on that in those teams. When the expectation in Chelsea is bigger than the capacity that Pochettino currently has right
Oh,
now.
wow.
It is no knock on him. It is just the fact that
The
if you're
reality.
not if you're not coming. Conte was a big personality for Chelsea. Players could respect it. Ancelotti, the boss man. Mourinho, the special one. Pochettino did not command that innate respect from the player. He had to earn it. Unfortunately, the person that is supposed to help him drive his message is an injury-prone Rhys James and an aged Thiago Silva who has seen it all, and they're probably even age mates.
Yeah, and
I definitely
Christopher, who is
and
also injury prone.
Nkunku is injury prone, who is supposed to be the boy coming with his philosophy. So I
Smash.
think
Smash the bad guy.
the pressurized, it's almost, this is synonymous with what happened with David Moyes in Manchester United. Moyes is a decent coach for a team with lower expectation than a club like United commands. That's why we are seeing him in West Ham, and we're like, why is Moyes not leaving? Do you think Moyes has not learned? He knows he can't go. He doesn't even want the big clubs to come. Leave me where I am. If I finish seventh, I take them to the Conference League. It is a success for me. So I think the demands in Chelsea, what it tells me is that the demands in Chelsea is way
It's
bigger
bigger
than the
than
capacity that
our
Pochettino
budget
possesses.
now. All right, perfect. And that's the wrap of the show today. My name is Salaja Adebali. See you again next week. It's Newsinstanta Sport. Have a wonderful sporting week. Bye, guys.